Welcome to the Lost in History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Captured German soldiers enjoy U.S. K rations in Normandy, France, while waiting for transport to England. The scene was recorded on June 9, 1944. K rations were pre-packaged meal kits designed to meet soldiers' nutritional needs in the field. This image shows the Serra Pelada gold mine in Pará, Brazil, in 1986. The area became famous in the 1980s after large quantities of gold were discovered. Thousands of people flocked there in search of wealth, creating one of the largest concentrations of prospectors in history. Survivors of the 1972 Andes plane crash faced extreme conditions after the aircraft carrying a Uruguayan rugby team, their family members, and friends went down. The plane crashed on October 13th in a remote, snow-covered area of the Andes Mountains. In January 1986, Christa McAuliffe's parents and sister were present at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, watching the Challenger Space Shuttle launch. Christa McAuliffe, a teacher selected to participate in the mission as a space educator, was one of the 7 crew members aboard. This image shows a soldier using a protective technique during the Mexican Revolution in 1913. He is positioned under a horse's body, using the animal as cover. This maneuver was used in open fields where there were few natural shelters. German children fly a kite made from devalued banknotes during the hyperinflation period in Germany in 1923. At that time, the currency had lost so much value that notes were used for practical purposes, like wallpaper, toys, or, as in this scene, kite material. The image, captured in 1945, shows 2 scientists beside the plutonium core used in the bomb known as Fat Man, dropped on Nagasaki, Japan. This central component was part of the Manhattan Project's development of the first nuclear devices. The last known photograph of Vladimir Lenin alive shows the leader in a wheelchair after suffering 3 strokes between 1922 and 1923. The image was taken in 1923 in the garden of his residence in Gorky, near Moscow. An Italian resistance fighter appears in Florence, Italy, in 1944. These local groups operated against the occupation and collaborated with Allied forces in surveillance, sabotage, and defense operations. In February 1983, then U.S. President Ronald Reagan hosted members of the Afghan Mujahedin at the White House. The meeting was part of U.S. support for the Afghan resistance during the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan, which began in 1979. German military chaplains, including Franz Justus Rakowski, the Catholic bishop of the field service, are seen in France in 1943. Rakowski served as the Reich's Catholic military bishop, providing spiritual assistance to Catholic soldiers in the German armed forces during World War II. During World War II, on territory in India, British military equipment was camouflaged to look like elephants. The aim was to disguise vehicles and artillery, making them less noticeable in areas where elephants were a commonplace sight. As a child, Freddie McIntosh wears a special sun protection suit because his skin is extremely sensitive to daylight due to a medical condition. The outfit covers almost his entire body and was designed to let him go outdoors safely. U.S. helicopters provide air support to South Vietnamese troops around 1965. The aircraft deliver controlled fire into dense vegetation areas to assist ground units in advancing. The era of Zeppelins peaked with the Hindenburg, one of the largest and most advanced aircraft ever built. During a 1936 flight, a mechanic is seen inspecting one of the airship's engines in midair. The Hindenburg offered luxurious transatlantic travel, carrying passengers between Europe and the Americas. On August 19, 1966, the Apollo 1 crew, astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, is photographed together in front of the command module, taking part in a symbolic moment of reflection and flight preparation. A worker cleans the inside of a 15-inch gun barrel at the Coventry Ordnance Works during World War I. She was hoisted into the barrel to clean the internal grooves, known as rifling, which helps stabilize fired projectiles. Grigory Rasputin appears surrounded by admirers in 1914, during a time when he wielded significant influence over Imperial Russia. Rasputin was a mystical figure connected to Tsar Nicholas II's family. Many regarded him as a healer or spiritual advisor, especially due to his closeness with Empress Alexandra. The famous painting Mona Lisa is unwrapped in 1945, shortly after the end of World War II. The work by Leonardo da Vinci had been removed from the Louvre Museum and hidden in secure locations to protect it from potential damage or appropriation during the war. In 1937, New York Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia led the public destruction of slot machines and illegal items by dumping them into the Long Island Sound. The action was part of a campaign against unauthorized activities and clandestine establishments. In 1915, during World War I, an aerial barrage balloon was flown to defend London from air attacks. These balloons were part of a system known as the balloon barrage, used to impede enemy aircraft advances. Marilyn Monroe performs on stage before thousands of soldiers in Korea in 1954. The visit was part of a tour organized to entertain U.S. troops following the main combat of the Korean War. Britt Eklund is seen aboard the yacht of her then-husband, Peter Sellers, around 1964. At that time, she was already a rising actress known for her elegance and distinctive style. The couple attracted international media attention, combining their film fame with a highly public social life. Tippi Hedren and her pet lion, Neil, sunbathe in her Sherman Oaks, California, garden in 1971. The actress, known for her role in Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, was also an animal rights advocate. On November 12, 1966, astronaut Buzz Aldrin took a self-portrait during the Gemini 12 mission, with Earth reflected in his visor. This image is considered one of the first selfies taken in space. In the spring of 1969, the Black Panther Party organized its free breakfast program in Harlem, New York. The initiative was part of a network of community actions aimed at supporting vulnerable children and families. In 1936, people gather at Waterloo Station in London to watch television for the first time. The set was airing experimental broadcasts from the newly launched BBC television service, a milestone in the history of visual communication. This image shows a street scene in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, in 1979. At that time, the city featured busy markets, varied traffic, and people dressed in both traditional and modern attire. Trucks loaded with logs travel through North Bend, Washington, in 1943 in the United States. The region was known for its robust timber industry, with abundant forests and large-scale production. In 1925, authorities or inspectors measured the length of a woman's swimsuit on a beach, a common practice in some places at the time. Public dress codes were strict, and swimwear had to follow specific length standards. If a swimsuit was deemed too short, the wearer could be warned or even removed from the beach. In 1941, during the rationing period in the United Kingdom, a beautician in London painted stockings onto a client's legs as an alternative to fabric stockings, which were scarce due to the war. Clothing rationing limited access to products like silk and nylon, materials used to make women's stockings. A soldier tests his gas mask while peeling onions at Camp Kearny in San Diego, United States, in 1918 during World War I. Camp Kearny was an active military training center at the time, and preparation for various conditions was essential. Central Park in New York during the Great Depression in 1933 was a place where many sought shelter, temporary work, or a moment of rest amid economic hardship. The Manhattan Bridge under construction in March 1909 shows one of the final stages of assembling this key link between Manhattan and Brooklyn in New York City. The bridge was officially opened in December 1909. A busy Hong Kong street in the 1950s shows urban life during a period of rapid population growth and economic change. The thoroughfares were filled with pedestrians, rickshaws, trams, and vintage vehicles. On July 15, 1954, the first flight of the Boeing 707, the company's first commercial jet, took place. The experimental model, known as the 380, or Dash 80, departed from Renton Field in Washington, marking the start of the commercial jet age in the United States. Surprised spectators watch with curiosity as Miss Beth Pitt strolls with her unusual pet, a fawn named Star Message. The image captures a charming and curious moment, where affection for the animal draws the attention of those nearby. A milk delivery is made with the help of a dog-pulled cart. The photograph was taken in the early 20th century, when this type of transport was common in some areas. The cart carried glass milk bottles directly to people's homes. Exercises are being carried out at Sint Willibrordus Hospital in the Netherlands on February 14, 1956. The photograph was taken by photographer Henk Blansjaar. These activities were part of the patient's care routine, focusing on body movement and well-being. This kind of practice was used in various health and wellness settings, especially in therapeutic and physical care facilities. The gentle massage aided digestion, relaxation, and overall bodily comfort. Techniques like these were common in recovery centers and specialized clinics. This photograph shows the first Subway sandwich shop in 1965. At the time, it was called Pete's Super Submarines and opened in Bridgeport, Connecticut, United States. The goal was to provide quick, affordable sandwiches with an emphasis on fresh ingredients. The steps of the Temple of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza are part of a famous pyramid located in Mexico. This structure was built by the Maya people and is regarded as one of the greatest wonders of ancient architecture. Muhammad Ali lights the Olympic flame during the 1996 Summer Games in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. The moment took place at the opening ceremony on July 19, 1996. Ali, known worldwide as one of boxing's greatest figures, was chosen to symbolize courage, perseverance, and sportsmanship. An expert mouser aboard a United States Coast Guard ship was a cat trained or accustomed to hunting rodents. These animals helped keep the vessel free of rats and other small pests. This image shows Jack, a baboon who served as a railroad signal assistant in South Africa during the 1800s. He became known for operating levers and signals accurately, assisting a disabled worker. Jack worked for nearly a decade without making a single mistake. It was once common to blend entertainment with work in various everyday roles. In many settings, especially public spaces, commercial areas, and transport hubs, playful activities and practical tasks were intertwined. This photograph shows Mary Smith, who worked as a knocker-up in the East London district. She earned 6 pence a week for waking her clients, a common practice before alarm clocks became affordable. Grace Kelly is on the set of the film High Noon in 1951. She took part in the filming early in her acting career. In the movie, released in 1952, she played the character Amy Fowler, alongside Gary Cooper. Workers assemble Sears and Roebuck catalogs in 1942. These catalogs were widely distributed across the United States and served as a major form of mail-order commerce. They offered a wide variety of products, including clothing, tools, furniture, and appliances. On May 1, 1936, Adolf Hitler hosts Archbishop Cesare Orsenigo, who served as the Apostolic Nuncio, papal diplomatic representative, in Berlin. This meeting was part of formal diplomatic relations between the Vatican and the German government of the time. The end of Prohibition in the United States occurred on December 5, 1933, when the 21st Amendment repealed the 18th Amendment. This moment became known as the repeal of Prohibition. Prohibition began in 1920 and banned the production, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages in the country. On May 3, 1921, the Field Museum of Natural History officially opened in Chicago, Illinois. The event marked the public debut of one of the world's largest and most important natural history museums. The museum was established to house the scientific and educational collections assembled during the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. People in the Netherlands wear traditional attire in a scene captured around 1900. The clothing varied by region and was worn at special events, local festivals, or as part of daily life in some communities. Carrie Fisher appears alongside her mother, Debbie Reynolds, in a photo taken in 1972. At the time, Carrie was still a teenager, while Debbie was already an established Hollywood actress. Debbie Reynolds had become famous for her role in Sing Jin in the Rain and for her career in film, television, and theater. The automatic whiskey dispenser, which mixed whiskey with soda, was showcased at the Second Automatic Vending Machines exhibition in London in 1960. The device allowed drinks to be prepared quickly and consistently, offering convenience in settings such as clubs, hotels, or social events. The assembly line for the Porsche 911 at the Stuttgart factory in Germany during the 1970s shows the production process of one of the world's most iconic sports cars. By that decade, the model was already known for its distinctive design, rear engine, and balanced performance. The legendary Soviet Georgian water polo player Petr Mshvenyaradze appears alongside his grandson in 1990. He was one of the sport's leading athletes during the 1950s and 1960s, representing the Soviet Union in numerous international competitions. People sunbathe on New York's beach, an area by the river before Battery Park City was built. The scene captures an urban leisure moment when residents used waterfront spaces for rest and recreation. Vintage-style swing dancers appear in a lively scene, representing one of the most iconic cultural movements of the 1930s and 1940s. Swing was accompanied by upbeat jazz music, and the steps involved spins, jumps, and coordinated partner moves. Ducklings were used to cheer up a girl in a hospital bed in 1956. The scene captures a tender and affectionate moment where the small animals helped provide emotional comfort during treatment. The Trans World Airlines TWA ticket counter at Idlewild Airport in New York appears in 1958. This area provided information, support, and assistance to passengers before boarding. Idlewild, later renamed John F. Kennedy Airport, was one of the United States' major commercial aviation hubs. Cheryl Ladd appears in 1977, the year she rose to international prominence by joining the cast of the television series Charlie's Angels. She joined the show in its second season, playing Chris Monroe. Woolworth's Sydney, Australia, 1960. A full-service supermarket with almost no plastic use. At the time, products were wrapped in cardboard, waxed paper, aluminum foil, metal cans, and glass bottles with metal caps. Reusable or paper bags were common for carrying purchases. An automatic milk dispenser appears in London during the 1940s. It allowed people to purchase fresh milk directly in a convenient and quick way, even outside store hours. In 1983, Carrie Fisher is seen alongside Darth Vader backstage during Return of the Jedi, the third film of the original Star Wars trilogy. Carrie Fisher played Princess Leia, one of the saga's central characters, known for her leadership and bravery. Parents take their baby ice skating around the 1930s. The scene captures a family leisure moment during the winter months in an outdoor setting with a natural or community ice rink. A zonkey foal, a cross between a zebra and a donkey, was seen with its zebra father and donkey mother at Colchester Zoo in 1971 in the United Kingdom. The zonkey exhibits traits of both parents. Its body shape resembles a donkey, while the zebra's typical stripes appear on parts of the body such as the legs and neck. The Young Frankenstein cast, gathered in 1973, during the film's pre-production phase, which was released in 1974. The comedy, directed by Mel Brooks, parodies classic black and white horror films, especially those based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Louis Armstrong draws a trumpet and signs a fan's head in Nice, France, in 1961. The moment showcases the charisma and warmth of the legendary jazz musician, known both for his talent and his close rapport with audiences. The offices of the Central Social Welfare Institution in Prague in 1937 show an organized and functional environment, typical of European public administration at the time. Employees work at desks with typewriters, paper files, and manually organized documents. Life in drafting offices before the invention of AutoCAD and other digital modeling software in the 1970s involved precise and detailed manual work. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, Princess Margaret, and young Prince Charles watched the coronation ceremony of Queen Elizabeth II at Westminster Abbey in 1953. Strong woman Joan Rhodes tears a telephone directory in half in 1953 to demonstrate her physical strength. In the 1950s, her performances drew attention not only for her talent, but also for challenging gender expectations of the time. A 1920s gas station stands in front of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. The image presents a striking contrast between the monumental architecture of the United States Capitol building and the station's functional simplicity. A typing class at a high school in 1959 shows students lined up at their desks, each with a typewriter. These classes were part of the standard curriculum, preparing students for the workforce or administrative roles. Jane Fonda is seen with a bow and arrow in Malibu, California, in 1965. The image captures a relaxed moment of the actress during a period when she was already known for her film roles and distinctive style. The interior of the Boeing 707 in 1958 reflected the luxury and comfort associated with the golden age of commercial aviation. The model marked the start of large-scale intercontinental jet travel, revolutionizing air transport. In 1959, an outdoor hockey game in Sweden was halted due to weather conditions. Outdoor matches were common at the time, especially in regions with harsh winters, where frozen lakes and fields served as natural rinks. A women's dormitory in the early morning during the 1970s shows a quiet, everyday environment, with students resting, chatting, or reading in silence. The beds are arranged side by side, often with colorful bedspreads, personal items, and posters decorating the space. Actor Sean Connery smiles at the camera as he arrives at a film premiere on May 24, 1965. At that time, he was widely known for playing James Bond, a role that established him as one of international cinema's icons. Adam West and Yvonne Craig have fun backstage in 1968 during the filming of the Batman television series. West played the hero Batman, while Craig portrayed Batgirl, a character introduced in the show's third season. American model and actress Anita Colby poses alongside mannequins modeled after her during a 1954 photo shoot. Known for her elegance and striking presence, Anita Colby also worked as an image consultant in Hollywood. A mobile coffee station circulates the streets of London in 1932, offering hot drinks to pedestrians on cold days. Mounted on adapted carts or bicycles, this simple setup delivered coffee, tea, and other beverages directly to workers, passers-by, and drivers. Moving Day in Lakewood, California, in 1953, shows families arriving in one of the first large planned suburbs of post-war United States. Lakewood was designed to meet the growing demand for affordable housing among veterans and civilian workers. On August 12, 1969, New York held a large paper ribbon parade, known as a ticker tape parade, to celebrate the return of Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. Between 1897 and 1930, the city of Seattle underwent a process known as regrades, during which the hilly topography of the central area was altered. Entire hills were gradually lowered using powerful high-pressure water jets operated by hydraulic cannons. Mott Street in New York's Chinatown appears covered in snow after a blizzard in 1983. The street, one of the oldest and busiest in the area, is known for its shops, bilingual signage, and vibrant cultural life. A Star Wars billboard appears in Tokyo in 1977, marking the film's release in Japan. The image shows the title translated into the local language and visual elements, blending the original style with touches of contemporary Japanese graphic design. Ronnie Bell, a dancer active in the 1970s, is seen protesting a stage play that contains sexual content. During that decade, public debates over art, morality, and freedom of expression were common, especially in major cultural centers. Shopping in 1945 involved a very different scene from what we know today. Markets were smaller, and products were mostly sold in simple packaging or in bulk. Customers used their own baskets or bags and were served directly by clerks who weighed and packed the items.